Well, let me tell you something, brother. I was in the gym, clanging and banging, getting these 24-inch pythons jacked and ready for my favorite wrestling show. And then one of my maniacs came up to me and said, "Hey man, what's your favorite wrestling program? Is it Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live?" And I said, "Let me tell you something, dude. It's A&B Convos Wrestling Edition, the best YouTube wrestling review show of all time, man." And just like I dropped the largest giant in the world right there in the middle of the ring, they drop a new video every week, so you better get ready by hitting that subscribe and notification button, dude. So what you gonna do when the largest arms in the world and A&B Combos Wrestling Edition runs wild on you?
Is A&B Combos Wrestling Edition. Yeah, man, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Welcome to the most must-see wrestling review and live reaction show in all of the land. I'm talking about A&B Combos Wrestling Edition. What is going on, everybody? Thank you very much for joining us for our special live show. I'm going to tell you right now, this is not an easy show to do for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, we're sounding good. We're looking good. I just wanted to make sure that we were okay. As you know, in the span of about 4 days, we, oh my gosh. All right.
Bone Crusher's like, do not.
We've got channel mascots. I've got to get to them first before I do my spiel. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the OGs already know, but if you're new here, we've got two channel mascots. Coming in first is the original channel mascot. She is a Shih Tzu Terrier of Terror, weighing in at 15.8 pounds. She's a little bit chunk. She's got to go on a little bit of a diet, so she can't get too many snacks. But she is the OG. Give it up for the one and only Bone Crusher. The other channel mascot, she's a mini golden doodle mix from parts unknown, weighing in at 32 pounds, I believe now. Give it up for Stella, the storyteller Rose. All right. Get that out of the way. All right.
Hey, everybody.
Now, as I was saying, in the span of about 4 days, we lost 4 people. They say celebrity deaths come in threes. Interestingly enough, just realized, and it was kind of similar when Farrah Fawcett died, as you may or may not know who that is. You may remember one of the original Charlie's Angels way back in the day. She died. Just so happens the very same day, Michael Jackson died. So the news was Farrah Fawcett died, and then it was like,
Michael died. Sorry.
Breaking news. A more popular superstar has died,
Yeah.
So we know the news of Malcolm Jamal Warner. May he rest in peace. Then we find out that Ozzy Osbourne, who just did his last show, passes. I believe he was 76, if I'm not mistaken. Then we hear Hulk Hogan, age 71, passes away. But what actually happened, I think a couple of days prior, I believe it was on the 22nd, a musician by the name of Chuck Mangione, Feels So Good, also passed. So technically he was the third, and it started over again with the Hulkster brother. So rest in peace to all 4 of these individuals. Hulk Hogan being one of the most iconic, one of the most recognizable wrestlers of all time. Not just by his look, but by his voice, by his, well, let me tell you something, brother. You know,
brother.
everybody did all kinds of
impersonations.
As you saw in the beginning of this video, we did some impersonation ourselves. And he's a very interesting case study in what to do and what not to do when it comes to not only professional wrestling, but kind of how you live your life in and out of the ring. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We don't want to get too deep into the woods and too deep into the weeds, if you will, because we're at odds with some things that we're going to be discussing here today. But it is not just who you see before you, ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls,
children of all ages. We also have our brother from another mother, fellow coalition member. Let's go ahead and bring him in right now.
Bring him in.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mark Bar Wrestling's Stephen Sandridge. What's going on, Stephen Sandridge? Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Don't know that you can fully tell from the backlighting, but I had to change my lights from blue to red and yellow tonight. So I can't decorate the side of the Empire State Building, but I'll light it up for the red and yellow tonight.
I like that Hulkster doll you got there as well.
Yeah, man.
Wait, did they do that to the Empire State Building?
Oh no, just like the Empire State Building sometimes will.
Oh,
I thought you were saying they did that for Hogan. I was like, wow.
I mean,
crazy.
Madison Square Garden could. I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
No, the Hogan figurine. Just cheap plug as we're building our way to membership status. A channel long quest that I'm on is to restore my collection of early Hasbro WWF figures. And Hogan was in the first series of that, obviously. And it was started in 89. The series went from like 89 to 93, I think, or 94. And so I've got some. You can't really see them when I'm live because they're over here on the desk. But if you watch some of my other videos where you can see the full desk, you can kind of see the whole deal. So anyway, yeah, I had to rep Hogan, and also I was debating between doing the ear pose and just saying it's come crashing down and it hurts inside.
Oh wow!
But, also my box from the first ever WWF Nintendo game, WrestleMania, with the Hulkster on it. WWF WrestleMania, which wasn't much of a game, but part of the memorabilia of the set, honoring the Hulkster. We're here.
Yeah,
we are here, I want to appreciate everybody joining us here today. We're going to give some shouts. This is not going to be your normal, typical live, but we do want to give some shouts to the people. We got the mod squad in the house. We got the members. Go ahead and lay it on the people.
Yes, let me give a shout out to the mods and the members before we get too deep up into all of this. Samantha Pooh is in the house.
Yeah.
Oh, you may not be here. Okay.
Well, I saw Sophie Duffy was here, and then he actually dipped out.
I may not be here, but I will say this: putting my political differences aside, Hogan the wrestler made a huge impact in the world wrestling industry, and I won't pretend he didn't. May he rest in peace. J.R. Dugan, go JB24.
But you got to put the foe on it.
What other members or mods are up in here? House of Brutality.
What's going on, House Brutality? Thank you for joining us, my brother.
Our champion, Three Diglets, is in the house.
Oh, man. I wonder if Hollywood Three Diglets is going to show up
He
tonight.
has already shown up.
Uh-oh.
DJ Tate 824 is in the house. Wesley Franklin is in the house.
Always a pleasure, Wesley.
Always a pleasure. Yes. Anthony is in the house.
Yeah.
And then that is all the members and the mods I see at this time. And then there is a super chat by
all right. I'm going to run down the chat real quick. The first in line with that fast pass, as always, honorable mention, Tyrell Breed, Black Panther Gaming. My boy will be missed. Thank you very much, Tyrell Breed. Let me run it down real quick. We've got Rick RT up in the house. Prince Roddy X Rod. What is going on, my friend? C Fluid is all up in here. Good to see you, C Fluid.
Yes.
We got Vinny. What up, Vinny? How you doing, my friend?
I'm gonna
Good
give a
to
special
see you.
shout out to Talea, since that's family right there.
What up, Talea? Marie, the Black Swan. How are you, Marie? Good to see you.
Our love.
Trey Lucado is in here.
Hey, Trey.
And of course, at the 15-minute mark, my baby sister. Mwah.
Hey,
love you for always
sister.
showing up and supporting us.
Yes.
Love you guys. Love you guys. Nakia Smith, what is going
Hey,
on?
Nakia.
Almeric Hendricks is over here.
In the house.
We got Hellraiser Mugs 13.
Hey, Hellraiser.
Aaron Teagle is in here.
Hey, Aaron Teagle. How are you?
Justin Holland Crane.
Justin.
Brock Randolph. I got to say it right.
Ooh.
Brock Randolph.
What's up, Brock?
Got to say it right. Appreciate that tribute and the love to the man, the myth, the legend. And Brandon King Carter is up in here. What up, Brandon?
Brandon.
Michael McCarr is up in here. And
hey,
this is possibly the biggest super chat of the night. We'll see. None other than Hollywood 3 Diglets, dude. I'm laying it down for all my Hulkamaniacs. One last time. One last ride, Jack. A whole bunch of heart emojis. There's some broken heart emojis. There's a black emoji, dude, from when I was in the NWO. Perhaps the greatest faction of all time, man. And now I'm up there slamming, clanging, and banging with all the greats. Macho Man. Love you, brother. Thank you, Hollywood 3 Dickless, for showing that love tonight. Movie Queen is up in here.
Hey, Movie Queen.
Oh, you're in the process of moving. I know that is never fun.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen you the last chat.
Oh, I hope that is going well. We got the one and only 850. Big boy. Yes, indeed. What's going on, 850? All right. So let's not.
Hi, Kennedy.
You've got to say it right. Kennedy. You've got to say it right.
Mm-hmm. And also
Shamanica Williams.
Yes, Shamanica Williams and CJ La Chappelle.
What up, CJ?
We were looking for you when Bailey was fighting the other day.
Now I see Mark by Wrestling has got some memorabilia, my brother. What do you got going on over there?
Oh yeah, man. No, I was just trying to find a way to place my game in sight so it could be a little, you know what, we're true Hogan fashion. Maybe we can outshine the Warrior here. I'm just trying to find a place to put it, just to make my set a little more hospitable to the memory of the Hulkster.
I appreciate that.
So we'll see if it works though without creating a
Should have taped it to your microphone stick.
Right, seriously.
Right here, brother. This is the Hulkster and the Hulkamania, dude. I'm talking about the 4 commandments of Hulkamania: the training, the prayers, the vitamins, and the believing in yourselves, man.
That's right.
And I can appreciate that. Got my foam finger. It's my first time actually putting the foam finger on. It actually feels pretty good. I do appreciate that foam finger. So yeah, we had to go ahead and do that. So yeah, as you all know, we lost a wrestling icon today. And here's the deal. Here's the deal. And everybody, we're gonna talk a little bit about this. Say what you will about the man Terry Bollea, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Hulk Hogan was, without a doubt, one of the biggest, you might argue the biggest, wrestling star to have ever graced God's green earth. Everything aligned at the right time. I don't know if the red and the yellow, if that was something that premiered today, would have done what it did back in the late 70s and 80s. You might argue maybe John Cena was sort of the Hogan of the day with his colors and everything. He went to work for Vince McMahon Sr., and it actually turned out, unless I am mistaken, right about the time he did Rocky 3, which I think was 82, marked by wrestling. I think I have that right. I think
Rocky
82, Rocky 3.
I want to say 80. I want to say 83, but you might be right. 82.
Let's see. Hey, Google.
I'll confirm for you.
Okay, he'll confirm that. Never mind.
82. You're right.
82. Okay. So
82.
unless I'm mistaken, he did this film, Thunder Lips, baby.
I don't understand.
Hey,
In the
Google,
flesh.
Stop.
And so his
Flashlight isn't available on your device.
Vince McMahon Sr. did not care for that. He actually did not like his wrestlers moonlighting and doing
Right.
other stuff. So we actually got the boot. It was Vince McMahon Jr., Vincent Kennedy McMahon,
Kennedy.
that had a vision. He needed a star. Let's bring the Hulkster back in here and let's make something of it. And history was made. He was the first wrestler really to transcend the wrestling industry and go into mainstream. Now, Hulk Hogan's films were, they were what they were. I'm not going to say they were Oscar-winning stuff, but he entertained. And I remember growing up, watching the Hulkster, watching Morocco, watching Superfly, watching Roddy Piper, Mr. Fuji, Andre, the Wild Samoans. It was what you would call the golden era of professional wrestling. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, tough guy, ho!
Coco Beware.
People like that. And if it wasn't for his contribution, if it wasn't for who he was and how they did the business back then, professional wrestling really wouldn't be where it is today. There are so many people that have paved the way, but there's only one Hulk Hogan. Now, you can also argue the point, and I know this is something that somebody has brought up before, where there was another guy. Everybody, the thing about professional wrestling is that everybody borrows something from somebody else, right? There's hardly ever anything original. And if you do something original, it's a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy by the name of Superstar Billy Graham who had the flowing locks. He was also balding. He did the brothers. He did the 20-inch python. He did the whole thing.
He was balding. Hulk Hogan wasn't balding when he first started.
Yeah, he's pretty much. He
was
was born bald. Yeah.
He was born
He was
bald.
And once Hulkamania,
Whatever.
the hair started running once.
It started running wild to the back of his head, dude.
Once Hulkamania started running wild, so did his hairline. But before that, yeah, he was all right.
He had some hair. He actually had more hair on his chest. Believe it or not, he was actually a pretty hairy dude.
Because Thunder Lips had a
Everywhere
decent head of hair.
He did. He did. And you don't realize how big he was at the time, but he was a really big dude.
Mhm.
He's a really big dude. But the reality is, Hulk Hogan was a if you will, he was a what's the word I'm looking for? A lightning rod, if you will. And again, there are people that would say, you know what, Hogan, he buried me. He didn't want me to succeed. And yeah, there are things that you could say that Hogan, he wanted his spot. He was one of these wrestlers, one of the rare wrestlers that had creative control over his character. And he didn't really pull that card a whole heck of a lot that we know of. But there were some instances that he did where he's like, you know what, brother? Yeah, I don't want to do that. We're going to do it this way because I got to protect
Roddy
myself.
Piper did the same thing, and so did Bret Hart.
So the man, the myth, the legend of Hulk Hogan running wild and the whole deal, it was an incredible run. It was an incredible time to be a wrestling fan. And it's another example, and then I want to give the floor to B, and I want to go to Steven. It's another example. We talk about this very often now with a wrestler's theme music. Now, his theme music wasn't always Real American Hero. He ran through a couple of themes. He even did, I think he even did Eye of the Tiger one time.
Yeah,
I think he did it at Madison Square Garden, right?
Eye of the Tiger was right before Real American, because actually the U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda, Bray Wyatt's dad and uncle, were a tag team, and Real American was their theme first.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy information.
Yeah.
That's why he's a wrestling historian. Yeah, exactly. So here's another example.
And then they were just
of-
like, "This is too good for you."
I think they just switched it. I mean, like a modern day take on that, you know, before CM Punk had Cult of Personality, he had This Fire Burns. That was actually given to Randy Orton at first. Randy Orton came out once with that theme music and they're like, nah, doesn't fit him. Give it to CM Punk.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
CM Punk ran with it until he got Cult of Personality. So, but yeah, sometimes, you know, they stick back in those days when it wasn't heavily televised all over the place. Yeah, they ran with it with the US Express. But I think, you know, the Americanization of it all after he beats the Iron Sheik, you know, to be champion and
the
stuff.
Sheiky.
You know, then that pro America stuff, you know, it just gets slapped onto Hogan and the rest is history.
And so there's an example of hit music, Real American Hero. The second the beat dropped, there was no mistaking who it was. You know what I mean? It is at this point synonymous with Hulk Hogan. And every time you hear it, it's a great song. Gets the blood pumping. Just like The Eye of the Tiger. I was listening to that in the car the other day. And the second you hear that bum dun dun dun, it just you in your mind, you're like, you know what? I know what's going on. I can picture Mr. T and Rocky and even Thunder Lips, and it makes you just want to pick up a dumbbell and just get Thunder Lips with it. You know what I mean? It's just some things that just hits. And so for you, B, what is one of your earliest memories of Hulk Hogan?
his feud with Roddy Piper, which even though I was a Hogan fan, I actually liked Piper better. I just was always a heel girl, I guess. But the cartoon, I loved the cartoon.
Yeah.
I kid you not. Like, I really, really watched every single one of those cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. Rock and wrestling. There it is. Come on now. Steven, the floor is yours.
Wrestling.
The floor
Oh
is yours.
man. I mean, what do I say? Like, yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that, you know, Hulk Hogan, the gimmick, the you know, whatever, the wrestler, you can take, I think we can all take a little step back and a little bit of perspective and just recognize, I don't believe anyone in this chat would be a wrestling fan today if it weren't for the existence of Hulk Hogan. Not because necessarily directly of Hulk Hogan, but because of what he did for wrestling. I think he became Coca-Cola. He became Xerox. He became, you know, other brands where an entire industry gets affiliated. It became UFC, where an entire industry becomes associated with one thing. And I heard Arn Anderson sum it up once. He's like, if you want to know how powerful, you know, or how well known or how important Hulk Hogan is to wrestling, like, you just go up to anybody on the street and ask them if they know anything about professional wrestling, and they'll say,
Yep.
at a minimum, oh, that's that thing Hulk Hogan does.
Yep. True story.
And like his name and his presence was synonymous with the business. And so he wasn't, and I'm not trying to be like, you know, all progressive or anything when I say Hogan wasn't my favorite wrestler. He wasn't my favorite. My favorite was Ricky Steamboat, but Hogan drew me in, right? And so like, and you go to my channel and watch my first episode of Marked by Wrestling. It's about Hogan and Andre. Like, it's a Saturday night's main event that was a build to WrestleMania 3, which I also have back on the shelf. But I'm not going to keep pulling things off. But like WrestleMania 3, it was like this huge thing. You cannot, and I'm not trying to like be the wise old man sitting on the stoop talking about you young bloods don't know nothing. I'm not trying to be condescending when I say this, but I'm like, at this point in 2025, if you weren't there, I don't know how much you can truly appreciate what WrestleMania 3 did for wrestling as a whole. Because what Hogan and Andre did for wrestling as a whole, because WrestleMania 3 takes us to the main event. And I was doing a little 2K streaming earlier today with Hollywood Hogan, which, by the way, maybe we'll get to the NWO. But speaking of Real American, also doing Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix as theme music was chef's kiss. This is a man who revolutionized professional wrestling, not once, but twice. And few people can say that about any industry, any sport, any business, that they can be on the cusp of changing their industry forever on two separate occasions. He did it as a babyface and as a heel. And like, that's just undeniable. And like, I'm not talking about the man. I'm not talking about, what he said and regretted in the privacy of his own bedroom, and I'm sure we'll probably get into that stuff before we're done. But to keep it on Hogan's impact here, like Hogan and Andre's rematch after WrestleMania 3 was viewed by 33 million people.
Wow.
At the same
That's
time.
Crazy.
That is we will never. And I mean, there's a we never say never in wrestling, right? But we will never see a number like that ever again. Mm-hmm. And that's Hulk Hogan. I mean, it's also Andre, respect to Andre. I'll always have love in my heart for Andre as well. But Hulk Hogan built that. That night was the debut of the Winged Eagle.
Yes.
That was the night of twin referees. How much did he pay for the plastic surgery, dude? How much did that $1 million man pay to have the rest paid off, dude?
Yep.
And like when Roman Reigns returned a couple of weeks ago on Raw, I think I sent you guys a super chat and I said, everybody has a pop until a real pop enters the room.
Yep.
And when I say there's levels to this, I mean there's levels to this. And I love, with a capital L, multiple. This is one of the best times to be a wrestling fan right now in 2025 with some of the people we have to cheer for. None of them are in Hogan's league in terms of crowd reception and recognition, because and also part of that too is because the business was different then. Like it was just a different time. And it's like trying to explain to someone now, because I have tried to explain this to my kids, that Taylor Swift is amazing and Beyonce is amazing. They have like 1 billion streams on Spotify, but everyone in the world knew who Michael Jackson was before there was an internet. Do you realize how famous you have to be for everyone to know who you are around the world when there's no internet? That is what Hulk Hogan was in the world of professional wrestling. And that cannot be denied. It does not mean I'm not going to cut a Flair promo, whether you like it or don't like it. I'm not telling anyone you owe him your affections, but let's not gaslight ourselves into thinking he wasn't maybe the most important wrestler in history.
Yeah.
I mean, and we can recognize that without having affection for everything that he does. And that's honestly kind of my mission tonight, is to help temper the attitudes, which I was reading your messages in your chat before you guys even got to the chat. And I think a lot of people have a pretty good head on their shoulders about this. Twitter absolutely does not. They're taking every opportunity they can to dunk on a dead man, which I don't care who the dead man is. My conscience doesn't really allow for celebrating someone's death. Because you're either grieving what we've lost or you're mourning what could have been in a person. But nevertheless, he is a large piece of the pie as to why we are all doing what we're doing right now, even if the things we are doing aren't directly pointed at him. He was such a big piece of the foundation for that, and I'll never forget that, and I won't deny that that's true.
Yeah, that's 1000% true. The reality is, like you had said, like I was saying earlier, when it comes to the world of professional wrestling, way back in the day, it was territories, and everybody had their section, their little piece of the pie, if you will. And you didn't cross in the territories. And McMahon, Vince really wanted to expand this. He had a vision, and that would require breaking some eggs, to make this omelet. It was what it was, and stepping on some toes. And so we said this before with the Vince McMahon controversy. We said, look, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whatever you feel about what he has alleged to have done. We're going to say that to keep it, legal. Alleged to have done.
Except for we all read the text messages. Yes, go ahead.
What we cannot.
We don't know what laws he broke, but we still know what kind of man he is.
Oh, that is fake
Exactly.
news. Fake news. That's the liberal left.
Oh
All
my
right,
gosh.
that's the Obama administration. They put that together.
Obama's a busy man.
He really is.
I'm telling you, he's over here like, me?
Right. He's doing the 50 Cent reaction gif. Like, what'd he say me for?
But what cannot be denied is, again, professional wrestling, the way that we know it today, closed circuit TV. This would not have happened if it wasn't for Vince McMahon. He did this. He was a pioneer. He put wrestling on national television. He with Hogan put wrestling on a stage that it had never been before. That is something that you absolutely cannot deny. Now, as a kid, you grow up watching this, and they held that business very close to the chest. So it was kayfabe through and through. I didn't know, because I didn't watch wrestling like that, except it would come on Saturday morning television or something. But I didn't know legitimately that Hogan and Andre actually wrestled before.
Right.
They
They did a really
before.
good job.
Like, that wasn't the first time he slammed the Giant.
Yeah.
And that just
Hogan
goes to
was
show
a
you
heel and Andre was a baby
And
face.
Goldberg didn't have
Exactly.
150 straight wins either.
I think it was 230.
230.
Actually. But that goes to show you the marketing genius that they were. The fact that they can package something that had actually already taken place, but do it in a way that, nobody really knows, and have it be a build. Like you said, you really got to look at it like the time capsule, which will never happen again. Like you said, with the Michael Jackson, like you said, with 33 million watching this. This was at a time when the internet did not, it's not like, oh, the internet was there or we had email. No, it didn't exist.
It did not exist. It wasn't like
a
today.
thing.
So now you can say, oh, everyone saw it. Well, that's just look at your phone and it's there. We didn't have that.
Instantly we pretty much knew Hogan died.
Well, there was some computers, but they were in classrooms and they had little green, things that you, right, MS-DOS, whatever.
You were playing Oregon Trail.
Yeah, and there was one phone in the house with a cord attached to the wall. There was it was none of that. So for them to have a cartoon of it in the 80s was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
Yeah, McMahon had a vision, and he needed
the two
some
of them
troops
together
to help him put
magic.
it together. And the fact that you were able to get millions and millions in that era to watch a professional wrestling match is insane.
And I think that even though Andre the Giant was his perfect opponent, that Rowdy Piper also was such a great perfect heel for Hulk. Well, first of all, not only was he just the most hard-hitting son of a gun in there because he was so tough, but he literally was, I've never seen anyone like him on the mic. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Rock is good on the mic, John Cena's good on the mic, but man, Piper, like, dude, like he just could tear anybody apart, and he said like he had the best sayings, like he was just but anyway,
Piper and
everything.
Yeah, Piper and Andre together are like the perfect heel in general for a Hogan because with the perception, Piper could run his mouth so well, you want to see him get beat up. And you believe 1985 Hogan could rip Piper into 2 or 3 pieces. Mm-hmm. But Andre, who couldn't really talk and didn't need to talk, just standing in the ring with Hogan and could fling him around like a baby.
Like a baby.
Yeah.
Was, as Gorilla Monsoon said a million times, the irresistible force meets the immovable object. And that is so for Hogan, you have a guy that he has to chase around to get, or you have the guy that he can't knock over. And so those were 2 bookended great feuds. I mean, they weren't exactly back to back, but because he had Bundy there for a while, which is a great in between, by the way, getting him ready for Andre. Paul Orndorff as well. Actually, it was a great little sort of mountain from Piper to Orndorff to Bundy to Hogan. Well, I mean, to Andre, you know, like there. And then, like, we're not even talking about Savage or the Warrior, and somebody mentioned Flair. And I mean, he had Flair more in WCW. They really missed an opportunity in WWE. But, you know, that's another time. Sergeant Slaughter at the peak of freaking Desert Storm. Like,
oh, and Iron Sheik, right?
Iron Sheik has kicked it all off. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, so many, just so many.
Yeah, and his feud with Macho Man, that whole your hand touched Elizabeth's backside turn thing, and Macho going crazy, and actually knowing Macho Man, he probably was serious.
Yeah.
Did you just touch her? But yeah.
40 years later, still one of the, and I mean this not with nostalgia, with my true opinion, still maybe one of the best wrestling angles of all time. It ran for a solid year.
Yep.
From WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5. Actually, maybe a little before WrestleMania, but right around WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5. And the seeds they were planting all along that you could go back and see, because the thing about Hogan, and this is the other side of that sword, right, is that him being the golden goose, him being the big money maker, you do need to have him front and center a lot of times. And I find it weird that Hogan, and I mentioned this earlier in my 2K playing as it just popped in my head, 2 times Randy Savage became world champion because Hulk Hogan got screwed out of a world title and they wanted to move the title to the next guy. And Randy was always the next guy. Which, I mean, says something about his respect for Randy. But like the end of WrestleMania 4, Hogan centers himself in Randy's moment. And that still makes me angry to this day. I just want to smack him right off my mic stand. May he rest in peace. Like he's the one who goes and grabs the belt and gives it to Randy. I'm like, would you just get out, Hogan? Like, let Randy have his moment and let him and Liz celebrate.
Says how Cody is always inserting himself.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, and so that's where, I mean, like him being front and center, but then like that gives you like the mega powers, and Hogan is always like, yay, us. But also like nudging you a little out of the way. So he's in the middle of the picture while he's doing it. And Randy Savage is just what was one of the best wrestlers to commit a heel turn. Like, cause you know, he had all that intensity. Seeing him turn was always one of my favorite things, because him going from good to bad or bad to good, like just took the whole crowd in with him. So putting those two guys together and doing both of those WrestleManias in Atlantic City, WrestleMania 4 and 5, was like a year-long bookended story. Like they were the head of SummerSlam. They were, you know, the head of Survivor Series. They had their little bump into each other at the Royal Rumble. And then they did the main event again, which I will name drop real quick too. A feud we may not talk about that I think really deserves respect for Hogan is the Big Boss Man. And
It's
him
what?
and Akeem, the Big Boss Man.
The Big Boss.
Oh yeah.
They had that cage match on a Saturday night's main event. And for all the like Hogan can't wrestle haters, he did a superplex off the top of a cage in 1988 or 89. So like, sit down. He was trained by Hiro Matsuda. He's just the embodiment of work smarter, not harder. I mean, it's kind of like what they say about Miz. Like when Miz went off on Daniel Bryan, I'm not the one who's always getting concussed in the ring, Brian. Like I work safer. I can work longer. I can be there for the fans more, you know, and all that stuff. And I don't mean to throw shade to Bryan Danielson. I'm just copying his promo there. But it just came out. But all that to say, like Hogan was wrestling 300 times a year. Of course he needed to work smarter and not harder, because they needed their top draw to be there, you know, to make money. And so, yeah, sure, his stuff was formulaic, but it worked for like 8 WrestleManias straight. I mean, so
and it was also a different time because, again, like you said, 300 days out of the year, they did house shows, dark match. I mean, it was a different time. They worked those wrestlers into the ground.
Yeah, they had multiple tours at the same time.
Exactly correct. But they also wrestled differently than they do today, with people getting, you know, CTE. I mean, they would blade. they would hit with some chair shots. I mean, you see the foreheads. Even Triple H was one of the last of those kind. But you see their forehead, Dusty Rhodes, baby. It tells the tale of a wrestling time. This man has been wrestling really 40 years, 45 years. He's been going strong. I think he was going in the late 70s. What are we talking about? 78?
So late
77?
70s is kind of when he got started, and his very last match of any notoriety was probably 05-06.
05-06. You know,
Back then,
that's
the
somebody,
Shawn Michaels, the Randy Orton SummerSlam matches.
And he had said himself, he would always say, I'm the man with the largest arms in the world. And yet that was never his finisher. He always did the leg drop. Doing 30 years of the leg drop didn't do his spine any good. And yeah, he probably should have pivoted away from that and done something else. I think about that with Nia Jax a lot. She likes doing the leg drop a lot. And I'm thinking, how long are you going to be able to do that? Because it's no good on the spine.
Yeah.
To keep doing that. It looks good, but it's no good. We got a super chat right here by 3 Diglets. Let me go ahead and get this in. 3 Diglets, thank you very much for the second single biggest super chat of the night. 3 Diglets says, not only did Hogan skyrocket wrestling in the 80s with Andre, he revived it in the 90s with the NWO, the New World Order of Wrestling, man. And then he solidified it and passed the torch in the 2000s, the 99 and the 2000s with that Cash Money with The Rock. He's the biggest icon in wrestling. Fight me if you want to. I dare you. Okay?
Can I take the risk of sharing a joke before we move on?
Please do.
Go ahead.
I mean it in fine taste. Actually, I think I put it in our little group chat earlier today. But after Ozzy and Malcolm Jamal Warner, I saw someone say today, once again, Hulk Hogan is the third man. Which, with everyone else's tasteless takes, like that made me smile. I'm like, I was sitting there thinking, but whose side is he on? Yeah. Anyway,
man.
It gave me a little bit of levity.
Here's the other thing about that, and we want to say a quick shout to Gio Reyes. What's up, my friend? Look, you mentioned the third man. The Monday Night Wars were real. Again, a time we're just not going to see again. We're just not. It was a very unique era.
Somebody thinks they can, but they wrong.
Yeah, they're dead wrong. You try as you might, my friend. No. And you had the outsiders coming into WCW, Hall and Nash, and it was a big deal. It was a really big deal because, again, the kayfabe was held so close to the chest.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, it wouldn't have succeeded in the way that it did.
Yeah, you really thought that they were in there representing WWE.
You know,
and I
really did.
But you don't know why I'm here.
See, that is what I'm talking about. And that started a whole thing. Then out
started a lawsuit.
What? Well,
no, I mean it did. He was so effective. WWF sued WCW for Hall and Nash portraying Razor and Diesel without saying they were. I mean they lost,
which is ridiculous. But, I mean, and I get it. It was a Hail Mary.
That's how scared Vince was, man.
Well, see, but and I've said this 1,001 times, and I'll continue to say it. That is the type of programming that we needed back then. Is put you on your toes. Let's really start thinking outside the box. Once you start getting comfortable and complacent, and you don't feel like you need to program like you won't be here tomorrow, then people are going to start watching the shows, and then we have some terrible booking. We have some terrible characters. There was a need, there was a hole that needed to get filled. No joke will be inserted there, and boom, WCW came into existence, and it prompted eventually WWE to get the head out of their arse and start programming like you're not gonna, like Rocky 3. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, because honestly,
thanks to Triple H and Shawn,
there may not have been.
Because without Triple H and Shawn, Vince would not have went down that road. He did not even think you should do that. And so he would have lost that war.
yeah, things would have gone a whole different way.
Oh, yeah.
So he comes out, and you hear the commentators go, "Here comes Hulk Hogan," and I think it was Bobby Heenan who kind
It
of
was Bobby.
bag.
And I got something to say about that when you're done.
Is he the third man? Yeah, please go ahead and say what you got to say there. I got to hear.
I want to defend Bobby Heenan to my dying breath in that moment, because Bobby Heenan for what was that, 1996, for 11 years, Bobby Heenan was always thought Hogan was sus. He never trusted Hulkamania. He always called Hogan into question. He was like Corey Graves used to do that with Sasha Banks too before she left to go to AEW. Like he was just a hater for Sasha for some reason. And Heenan was a hater to the grave on Hogan in kayfabe anyways.
Yeah.
All the way down. So when he said, whose side is he on? I don't know if he was smartened up or not, or if he was just being Bobby Heenan in that moment. So I know that planted the seed in a lot of people's heads, and a lot of people like call that spoiling the moment. But honestly, I think that was the most in character thing Bobby Heenan could have said in that moment in doing that. So, but nevertheless, Diglett said Dusty said, now if Dusty said it, and I love Dusty, but Dusty could have let the cat out of the bag, baby. I mean, he's, not always.
Let's go ahead and see what he says.
Tightest lips, baby.
Dusty Rhodes said, "Is he the third man?" And Bobby Heenan said, "He's the third man." Yeah. You're not wrong. Again, the commentators, people at home are hearing this. People in the arena don't. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that is one cool thing that the fans had at that moment. And this was also a time when they would throw stuff in the ring. I mean, it was wild. It was wild.
Right.
Talk about never again.
There was, and again, there's something to be said for the kayfabe that this was this character for so many years, and the kids everywhere, like literally all around the world, to now you take that, you snap it, you change, and it broke everybody's hearts. It was devastating.
It was devastating for him to do it. He wasn't convinced at first.
But you see how the fans reacted.
Once he saw the trash, he was sold. Right. Yeah, once he saw the reaction. I think he was, I do think he was afraid. Like, because, and this is something too, for everybody to understand who wasn't there at that time. Before that, Hogan was still doing his microwaved Hogan shtick in WCW. Yeah. And he got there in 94. That didn't happen until 96. But I would say about 6 months, 7 to 8 months into 94, crowds were already getting tired of it because they had Hulkamania fatigue in WWF. Mm-hmm. And that was part of why he left, because the crowds were getting tired of his shtick. And so I know he knows the difference. I know Hogan is a smart businessman and a smart wrestler, knows the difference between what they call go away heat and hate you heat. And when he saw that trash in the ring and you heard him with Mean Gene and Hall and Nash cut that promo after the match, bro, he leaned into that heeldom, probably like you would see a year or two later with one Rocky Maivia turning into The Rock. He's like, I'm taking every shot I can take now. And like Hogan, not the best promo of all time. Like his coked up promos are probably more fun, but whatever. But he's I mean that figuratively speaking, of course. But his like, maybe. But when he looks down and he's like, as far as I'm concerned, all this trash in the ring represents all you trash out there. And I'm like, you never heard Hogan speak an ill word to the Hulkamaniacs, bro. No. And like, that was such a new moment. Like, again, it's like so many things that happened in Hogan's career are just things that won't ever happen again in wrestling. No. Yeah. And part of that's just because the business has changed so much. But like, so he was a part of a lot of firsts for a lot of wrestling fans. And that there, man, the New World Order, I hated them so much. But him coming out to Voodoo Child was the dopest thing. Maybe the dopest thing in the Attitude Era. and bringing Dennis Rodman, talking about celebrities, bringing Dennis Rodman at his peak Chicago Bulls popularity into wrestling. Like, I mean, WWF had Mike Tyson and bow down to that, but it wasn't 89 Mike Tyson.
No.
97 Mike Tyson was still Mike Tyson, but he wasn't that Mike Tyson. And Rodman was at top of his game. Yeah. Missed the NBA finals to hang out with the NWO. Practice. He missed practice.
You're absolutely right. We got a super chat by JR Dugan. Thank you very much, JR. We've been talking about Goldberg the last week. Some forget that Hogan made the right business decision to lose the heavyweight belt to Goldberg in his hometown. Interesting point. Thank you first off for that super chat, JR Dugan. Steven, do you feel that that was the right decision?
Dropping the belt to Goldberg?
Mm-hmm.
In a vacuum, yes, because Goldberg was the hottest baby face at the time. Doing it on 3 days' notice, I thought it was stupid. Like they could have built that, and also doing it on Nitro, I thought was desperate at the time because they were trying to beat Raw. They were trying to get a ratings win back from Raw, and so I didn't particularly care for that. The actual booking decision to lose to Goldberg in general, was the right call because Goldberg was a monster at the time. He was the right thing. I got to admit, Hollywood Hogan, I already said that I hated the NWO, but I'll never forgive whoever is at fault. I don't know if it's Hogan, Bischoff, Nick Patrick, or whatever, for monumentally, like, nuclear level botching the end to the Sting Hogan story in the NWO. Sting should have 2014 SummerSlam Brock Lesnar Hulk Hogan in that match. He should have beat him within an inch of his life, pinned him with 1 foot on his chest. And I will say this about Hogan, because Hogan gets crap about creative control. And mostly that took place in WCW because honestly, I think Vince was probably behind most of it in WWF because he was the moneymaker. So obviously I'm going to make booking decisions that feature the moneymaker. But in WCW, a lot of Hogan's response about creative control was, I didn't really care if I won or lost. I always wanted to know what my next feud was going to be. What plan did you have for me next? And if I'm in Hogan's shoes, I'm going to be asking that question too. And so I don't really even let me put on the old fantasy booking glasses for a second and just say to this day, I don't understand why they couldn't have had just Sting ragdoll Hogan. And then Hogan has an entire NWO to feud with after that for dropping the ball. And you could make Hogan a face. You could keep him a heel. You could have Nash come after him. You could have Scott Steiner come after him. You could have, anybody. And Sting can face Bret Hart. Sting can face Diamond Dallas Page. Sting could face Goldberg. He can just be the WCW champion. But anyways, that's a little adjacent off the point. But I can understand him wanting to know what his plans were and that kind of feeding his business decisions, because he did come from that time of, if you didn't have a spot, you didn't have a paycheck. And I'm sure accustomed to a certain way of life, being the most lucrative wrestler of all time.
That's right. That's right.
And wrestlers got them alimony payments. So, he had to find a way, brother, and Pastamania wasn't working out, brother. So, he had to make sure he still got those sweet, sweet checks. So I can see where he's coming from, even if I didn't agree with it.
Well, that's an interesting point to kind of segue into that, and we'll end this. We'll wrap it up, pretty soon. But people have said that about Hulk Hogan, is that, and that's the thing about professional wrestling. The reality is, you don't want to lose your spot. When you're a top guy, and when you're on top of the world and everything is going right, no one can touch you. And there are top guys in this industry, the Ric Flairs, like you said, the Hogans, the Andres. There are just some guys that were top shelf, like the Roman Reigns, the John Cenas, the Rocks. There just is what it is. With that comes a certain level of, I don't want to say Macho Man paranoia, because he was a little paranoid about certain things.
A little.
But you don't want somebody coming in and taking your spot. Does that mean you're going to go ahead and try to bury some people? Maybe there are rumors that were flying around You know, we can say substantiated, unsubstantiated about Hogan burying certain talent that he didn't necessarily want to be put over. He didn't want to have, you had certain people who would say Hulk Hogan was absolute trash. If the Iron Sheik was here today, he would have some choice words for Hulk Hogan. He might even spit Hulkster, you know, who can say? But I think that's a fair point. Do you feel that through it all, Hogan was, again, it was a different time. If anybody watched Wall Street with Michael Douglas, you have a sense of the 80s mentality. I think Wall Street is a very good film to give you a sense of what it was like. It was very cutthroat. It was just a very different era. Do you feel Hogan was justified, if you will, if in fact he did do whatever he could to make sure he maintained that top spot? Do you feel that was something that people just needed to get over? I leave it to the floor, to you both.
I don't know, you know, I think that the reality of being in a situation where I'm trying to say hi to all the people that are coming in. So,
What's up, everyone?
yeah, I was like, hi, everybody. So when you're in a situation like you said, like you only get a paycheck when you fight, when you have a story, when you are being featured. And being in catering doesn't just mean that you're not being featured. It doesn't just mean that you're not hot. It means that you may not be able to pay your rent. It means you may not be able to, you know, provide for your family, whatever it is. I think that we live in a situation where in an environment where a lot of people do things that may be sketchy, that may not be upright, that may even be against the law. And then you'll hear people make excuses because they're just trying to feed their family. You know, they're in a tough situation. So I would say in a business like this, where it's cutthroat, where everybody needs to look out for themselves, because at that time, that's what you needed to do to feed your family and to make sure you could pay your bills. It's hard to not look past that, because I would think anybody and everybody was also doing the same thing because they also needed that paycheck. So, you know what I mean? It's like if you're a Las Vegas showgirl, you hear that stuff too. Like you'll do what you got to do to try to be up there on the stage. If you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think that sometimes when you're in these kind of businesses, that's kind of what happens.
Stephen, what do you think?
My wife said something really poignant to me yesterday on a different topic, but I think it applies here. And Mrs. Marked by Wrestling for all my shared members of the community. She said, you know, Stephen, you know, we are all the villain in someone's story. Whether we do it on purpose or not. And we can't do anything to prevent that. And the reality is, even though pro wrestling is kayfabe, there are kayfabe winners and losers every night. And so in order to have a match, someone has to lose. And at the end of the night, if the crowd responds to Hogan, then to make money as a company, Hogan, they had the phrase, Hogan must pose, which was the phrase they would use to end WrestleManias and stuff, to send everybody home happy. And to do that, if you were Big John Studd or King Kong Bundy, or, you know, Kamala or One Man Gang, that meant you were the right type of person to take the L for Hogan. But you know what? Very few, if any, maybe Piper did here and there, because Piper is a unicorn, man. There's just nobody like Roddy Piper. But the rest of those guys were like, whatever, man. That red and yellow son of a gun made me the most money I ever made in my life. Because when you worked with Hogan, you didn't get Hogan's money, but you got Hogan level money. And that's what true. A lot of those guys were into. You know what I mean? They were not, as much as I don't like to use this term in a negative connotation at all, they weren't marks for themselves. They were like, hey, If I can make the best guy look good, I'm going to make a good killing for my family for the next several months, you know?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
in any business, in any organization, in order to get ahead, you have to make decisions. And some decisions in life, especially in work and in organizations, are decisions that are going to push someone else down and you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
And so some people lived being pushed down, and the narrative they took away from it was Hogan was out to get me. But maybe sometimes he was, because he wanted to help out someone he liked better. Speaking of the misses,
I saw that.
the best person to put somebody over there ever was. So it's hard because I am, like, by personality, I'm a people pleaser. Like, my Enneagram is a 9. Like, I don't like situations where I feel like the inevitable consequence is someone gets the short end of the stick, or someone gets unfairly put to catering, or someone gets squashed in 20 seconds because someone else's interview segment went too long. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. But those things happen. And like that combination of things happens, and it's really up to you. It's your choice what you were going to allow that stuff to turn you into.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you going to be, on shoot interviews that just get rotated around YouTube every few months and show up at some kid's birthday party on the indies? Or are you going to be Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes and go out, take the ball with you, catch it yourself in the end zone, and come back? So, like, I mean, that not everybody can have Cody's story. Okay. But some people do. And it's not because they got it given to them. It's because they had the right attitude, took the adversity, and worked with it. I don't really remember. 3 Diggins was like, what was the question? I actually don't remember anymore. I've been rambling so much. I'm sorry, everybody. It's just,
But that's okay.
yeah. I mean, listen, Hogan did some people dirty, but that's not a unique personality trait in wrestling to Hulk Hogan.
That's true.
Some people hated Steve Austin. Some people hate The Rock. Some people hate John Cena. Some people hate Roman Reigns. Some people hate Cody Rhodes. I mean,
what was that?
Oh, to 3 Diglets.
Did you do a loser?
No,
burying people.
Thumbs up to 3 Diglets for saying he said thank you.
Okay, I was about to say.
Thank you, Diglett.
Calm down,
and I'm sorry I got
off.
All right. Yes, indeed.
No, you're all right. Actually, well, speaking of, 3 Diglett says, Real American Voodoo Child NWO theme song had all the best themes in wrestling. Facts. And held all the best looking world titles of all time. Winged Eagle, Big Gold, and undisputed title. Facts. Again, fight me if you want to. You can find me on the corner of Boyle and 8th. Okay? I'm willing to take on all comers. That's what the super chat says. I got to read it like it says.
Mm-hmm.
I got to read it like it says. And I cannot argue those facts. I'm also, and thank you very much for that big super chat. I'm also not going to argue the fact, and we'll close a little bit. We'll get into some of the latter years, if you will, with Hulk Hogan. Now, as you know, Hulk Hogan, I believe his last appearance in Los Angeles, he comes out with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
Did not go well.
Did not go well. Booed out of the arena loudly. So much so, I think he ran through his spiel at lightning speed, faster than he could walk at that point. And he said, okay, let's get out of here. And he was interviewed about it. And I remember looking at him, and I'm saying to myself, because Stephen, you have said this earlier, he knows the difference between different types of heat. And so I said to myself, you're smart enough, you've been in this industry long enough to know why, at least I would think you would know why the LA crowd was booing you all to be damned, as Martin would say, just all to be damned. And yet you never really copped to it. You just kind of said, well, the LA fans, and with LA Knight, and everybody gets kind of heat. And I think it's, I'm like, dude, what are we're just gonna ignore the elephant in the room. Like, but I get it. But that's the thing. Like, you're not gonna own up to why the boos were coming in.
You think it was over the recording? I think it was over the Trump conference.
I think it
because
was
it was LA.
I think it was a combination of things. Political being one of
Because
them.
he has made many appearances since that came out. That was a while ago. And
I
he
know.
wasn't treated that way. I think
know.
that was political.
I
What do
think
you
it's
think,
I think it's a
Steven?
combination of things.
You think it was political or that it had to do with the recording?
I think it was more political than that. I think if it's a pie chart, the bigger piece of it, because he was at the RNC that year, or the Republican National Convention and stuff. Like,
Right.
he was more than just wearing, Trump memorabilia or something. I mean, although he did do that too. Like, I'm trying to make a difference between him and Undertaker, who is a conservative, but Hogan was, if I can get into the subset of that political side for just a second, I would say Undertaker is conservative and Kane is conservative, and Hogan was dipping his toes in MAGA, which just a bit further. And there is no place for you in downtown LA.
Yeah, right.
If you were dipping your toes in MAGA, we will.
Yeah,
all
like you're not
you.
trying to go wearing a MAGA hat.
Yeah.
People will ride the bus from the valley to come hate on you.
Yeah.
If you
for those that don't know, that's no easy haul. So,
no, not at all. And so, yeah, I think there's obviously still hard feelings over the tape and stuff like that. But no, I don't think it's that. And also, like, there's also the visualization, because like I see C Fluid is asking about what about Taker, Taker also, other than being called American Badass and having Kid Rock as his theme song, Taker did not have a patriotic gimmick. So when you're aligning yourself to politics and your whole gimmick is surrounded around being a real American, like the phrase being a real American in 2025 is a complicated label. And so you're going to get that crowd's response.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's a combination of things. Wrestling fans have a tendency to not forget certain things. When it came to Hulk Hogan, and just some people, it's like, so I'm seeing, like you said, C Fluid had mentioned this. It kind of reminds me of Star Wars, the original Star Wars, where you had Harrison Ford and you had Mark Hamill. And after Star Wars, Mark Hamill had trouble getting work. They couldn't see past Luke Skywalker. Not so much so for Harrison Ford. He actually had a little bit of an easier time finding work. And it's interesting what fans choose to remember and see you as versus not. You know what I mean?
True.
And yeah, it's interesting. You had during the election time, you had Batista coming out saying one thing, and then you had Trump, I think, sitting in between Glenn Jacobs and Mark Calloway, and it's saying you can go with Batista, you can go with us. So you clearly have aligned yourself. It's interesting. You see these two individuals, Taker and Hogan, have clearly aligned themselves with this side of the political spectrum, and yet Undertaker's been coming out. He was on NXT.
He's on NXT.
He's
on
come
Tuesday.
out
In Houston
several times. Well, it is Houston. That's a big red state, if anything. And the reaction is different, but also, and and kind of wrapping up here, just touching lightly on some other stuff, some more controversial stuff, not getting into the weeds of it, but some stuff that has been brought up, before. Separating, it's a very interesting thing, and I want to read this super chat before I throw this out here by Three Diglets, and thank you very much, Three Diglets. Here's my 2 cents. You got buried by the GOAT. Suck it up. Go wrestle and beat Doink if that's what you want.
Beating Doink's no easy task either.
Me up.
That is no easy task. Doink always, I got to be honest with you, Doink always kind of freaked me out. Because I'm not scared of clowns or anything, but he was a little freaky.
Yeah, he was a
heel
little
Doink. Heel Doink messed me up, bro. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
For people who were
So it
scared
wasn't
of
just
clowns,
us.
it was a little like, wait.
Yeah, there was something not right about that clown.
Please don't show up at my kid's party.
Yeah, for real, for real. You got me all kinds of twisted. I don't want to get into that. Three Diglets dropped another big super chat. Yes, Three Diglets, who is dropping it today. This is what I think. Most people can't think for themselves. They saw Rollins and Lynch say a couple of bad things about Hogan. They rushed to their closets, threw on their Rhea Ripley shirts, and jumped on the hate Hogan bandwagon. Mid.
Threw on their Rhea Ripley shirts. Because she's the new Hogan.
Rhea Hogan.
Oh my gosh.
Rhea
That's
Hogan.
so funny.
First off,
Oh,
that's a
gosh.
colossal super chat. And I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Brian Gax, how are you?
Mhm.
WWE movie maker, good to see you, my friend. That's a fine point. Wrestling fans are fickle, right? They're very fickle.
Yes, very
But Hogan
much so.
himself said
They love to find
there's
something
nothing
to hate.
quite like redemption. And they embrace the red and the yellow once again.
Mhm.
You know, and that's the thing about professional wrestling. You can have a good guy who then goes to being a bad guy, who can go back to being a good guy. And if it's done right, the fans will embrace you because
Yeah.
there's nothing like redemption.
Yeah.
And in his later life, yeah, he has some controversy. He did some stuff with his friend's wife. He, in that conversation, dropped some expletives. He said some very unflattering things. And that painted a very dark picture of the man, Terry Bollea. Unfortunately, Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan, one and the same in the minds of many. And it's very difficult for people to separate the character from the person, because a lot of times we hear, this is just me turned up to 11. This is just me amplified, you know? So then you say to yourself, okay, so Hulk Hogan's a racist. Is that what you're saying? That this is you amplified? What are we talking about here? And it caused him to be cast out of the WWE. He was erased from the histories like Xerxes tried to do Leonidas in 300, you know? Eventually, Triple H said, look, it's time for you to come home. Let's go ahead and bring you back in here. He was reinducted, this time, I believe, with the NWO. And it just kind of went on from there. I don't think he ever fully recovered, because he did a quote unquote apology that other black superstars basically said, you know what? Not so much. But it is what it is. Let's just move on at this point, because we're not going to get anything better from this guy. WWE is back in bed with him. I guess we are too. And it is what it is. Just like when CM Punk came back, we all saw the reaction from Seth Rollins. He was pissed, but he also understood, and he, by his own admission, said, look, I don't like the guy, but if we're going to make money, I'm willing to work with the guy. Clearly WWE is in bed with him. It is what it is. I'm going to have to make the best out of this situation. And I saw Naomi tweeted this years ago. We go ahead and make some chicken salad out of some chicken crap. You know, whether you agree with him or not, whether you like the man or not, whether you like his politics or not, whether you agree with what he said, whether you accepted his apology or not. I do know that he also, in his recent years, accepted Christ. He got baptized at what, 70?
Hey man, that's my spiel. You talk about your thing. Don't be saying my spiel.
So ultimately, what I'm saying is,
Don't be stealing my
that
gimmick, brother.
Right?
it's hard for so many people to separate the man from the gimmick. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form comparing the two. So don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. But Hitler was somebody that I think we all can collectively say was not a good guy and did some horrific things. For
We wish
those
we all
people,
could say that these days.
well,
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry. Forget I said that. Forget I
Why
said
are we
that.
talking
That's
about Hitler?
derailing.
I'm mentioning that because there are those that would say, well, take a look at what Hitler did, just like with our current
For the
administration
economy?
here in the United States, where you have people saying, well, our current president is not a good guy. But then you have the supporters and people were saying, well, look what he did for the this and look what they did for the that. You know, like you'll have your detractors and you'll have your supporters. So what I'm saying is, it's like, you know, you've got the president, you've got the dictator, then you've got the man. Like you've had relationships with people and they say, well, know what, he's a thug in the streets, but he's sweet to me. You know, how do you separate the two? Can you separate the character from the man? Did is this something that we're attributing Hulk Hogan and everything that he did in the industry for so many years in a good way for decades in a moment of whatever it was that he decided to do with his friend's wife and everything that came after that? And in that moment, you know, it's like, now you're trashed. Your entire career, we're taking you out of the Hall of Fame. Everything you've done for this industry, we're taking an eraser to, you know, because we cannot separate what you've done versus what Hulk Hogan has contributed to this industry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can say to that degree. I'll try to say quickly. For starters, you know, with your political comparisons with political leaders, those people are judged as bad people because I think the sum of their life choices are more marked by terrible things. From what I can tell, other than where he aligns politically, which I didn't like, for the record. That's just a thing though, that like that doesn't make me want to write somebody off unless we're talking about actual like the worst versions of that. You know what I mean? Like the dehumanization of people, the, you know, genocide, whatever, that kind of stuff, you know, but that goes beyond politics into just straight evil. But so I don't have anything approving to say about the racist things that Hogan said, right? But I will say this. He said those things in private. He said those things behind closed doors. And he had his most shameful private moment exposed to the whole world. And I don't think any of us would want that to happen to us. I'm not saying we're all secretly racist behind closed doors, but I know we've all said things we don't want the rest of the world to hear. And that's a rough go. And I just I believe in grace. I believe in forgiveness when remorse and repentance is shown. And it would be my hope that none of us, when we die, are painted and legacied and remembered for our worst moment. And so I'm not going to do that, but I'm also not going to speak for any of my black friends, any of my black brothers and sisters who don't share that same sentiment, because I get that. Because I will say one thing I was really disappointed by and frustrated by was, I think it was Mark Henry who said, yeah, I was there when he gave the apology to the locker room, and it felt a lot more of a like, hey brother, make sure you don't get caught when you say stuff, rather than having a problem with what you actually said. And Mark Henry, I believe, was the one who was like, I came to you, man, and I said, you know, if you want to do this right, I can help you. I can tell you the places we can go, the people you can speak to, so you can actually demonstrate to this community that you're actually remorseful. And he just he didn't say he blew him off, but he did just say like he didn't take him up on it. And like, I think that could have gone. Hogan wouldn't do anything. You know, I don't know why he couldn't have taken him up on that. I think he could have redeemed his legacy for so many more people. I still think there are some people, you know, myself included, who are like, I'm not going to throw away all the things that make me a happy wrestling fan because of your contributions, because of the trashy things that you said. And I'm also not going to say that it was okay that you said the trashy things either. Like, people are complicated, and we 100% should be able to make a differentiation between Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. I make a differentiation between Bill Cosby and Dr. Huxtable. I made a video about Malcolm Jamal Warner, and there's a whole ensemble cast of actors who had some of the best work of their careers locked up in a closet, never to be seen again, because of who he was as a man. And yet he portrayed one of the best, most positive black parental figures in TV history. And that fictional figure is still somebody you can emulate. Just don't emulate the man. Emulate the ideal. And I know we're not talking about DC films yet, but I'm talking about the ideal. I think about Superman. I think about, you know, the thing that we strive towards. not necessarily the thing we have, you know? And so, yeah, Hulk Hogan was an ideal. Terry Bollea was a man. You can strive without doing steroids to be a Hulk Hogan, you know, the prayers, the
Well,
training. the vitamins.
absolutely. And I want to hear from thee, but first I wanted to take a little drink out of this cup here. Oh.
I'm not drinking out of your cup.
Mm.
So I went ahead and pinned Wesley Franklin's message because he actually said what I wanted to say. He said, I think just over a year and a half ago, Hulk Hogan gave his life to Jesus Christ. He said total surrender and dedication to Jesus. So he was 70 years old. And he said, total surrender and dedication to Jesus is the greatest day of my life. No worries, no hate, no judgment, only love. And he did a video of the baptism. So we may be married, but we don't always see eye to eye on stuff. But for me, the same way, sorry, I'm about to get a little preachy, the same way that when Jesus was on the cross and the thief said to him, will you forgive me? And Jesus said, today you will be with me in paradise. The moment that Hulk Hogan dedicated his life to Jesus Christ and asked for forgiveness for his past, he became a new person. And when he was baptized, his old person died and that new person was raised to a new life. And to me, I'm not going to judge anybody on who they were before they met Jesus, because I don't want anybody looking at me based on who I was when I was not walking with the Lord either. Because we all have been, like you said, somebody's villain. And I have even been the villain in your life at some point. I have been the villain in my kids' lives at some point. Being someone who struggles with mental illness, I'm sure there's some people out there who are like, ain't no way that God could forgive her because she did X, Y, and Z. And I don't deserve forgiveness, and neither do you, and neither does anybody else any more than Hulk Hogan or anybody else. So the minute that he says, hey man, I need to be forgiven because I'm a horrible person and I need the Lord, then all that is wipes. Jesus don't see it. I don't need to see it. That all that does is show me that Jesus is powerful enough to rescue anybody from anything. And so he's not going to be defined by who he was prior to me, because I wouldn't do that to anybody else. So
that is fair. That is fair. We've got a super chat right here by Three Diglets who says, separating the man and gimmick argument, I think, isn't fair. We knew the gimmick. Only some had the privilege of meeting and knowing the man. How can we judge a man we never knew? By the way, Steven, got my flair. Woo! Funko Pop today. He's styling, he's profiling, woo! And he's having a hard time holding those alligators down.
And I don't know what that Funko cost. I'd be ashamed to wear it. Love it. Congratulations.
Yes, indeed. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you very much for that big super chat. Thank you for supporting us tonight. Three Diglets. Hollywood Three Diglets. I know this is a tough one for you, but this is interesting. Yeah, no, you're right. He did get saved. He changed his life, and that's the thing. That's a tough thing for people to reconcile with. You can have somebody that can be a horrible person. They can end up changing their life, and I know a lot of times people say people don't change. Sometimes they don't. We just yesterday were told by one of our nieces of somebody who did not change their life and actually just ended up dying himself. This is somebody that led a life of crime. He did a stretch. He just got out of doing a stretch and he was back to living a life of crime. You would think that you would perhaps change your ways, and yet he chose not to. So I think people can change. I think people cannot change. It just depends on the person. Is it possible that Hulk Hogan did in fact, well, Terry Bollea did change his life and turn his life around to some degree? Yeah. I also think it's a little odd for somebody that attributed alcohol to a lot of problems in his life, including the demise of his marriage. That you now have a real American beer and you are on Logan Paul's podcast and you say it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Let's break out a beer, brother. Hold the phone. Let's just slow down here. Clearly, you shouldn't have a beer at 9 o'clock if you were previously an alcoholic. That's a whole other conversation. So yeah, it's stuff that you can still struggle with but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you are not a different person. And it's tough, especially with certain things that are uh, uh, a sticking point, if you will, for some people, like racial issues, like political issues, like religious issues. These are things that they tell you don't bring up at work because it's just too controversial for people to discuss. At the end of the day, for me, I think in closing, I appreciate what Hulk Hogan did for this business. I appreciate what Terry Bollea allowed Hulk Hogan to do for this business. I am a wrestling fan. I will more than likely be a wrestling fan until I'm in the dirt.
In
And
the dirt.
and I know,
Thought you were being cryogenically frozen.
well, metaphorically speaking, yes, I do plan on, full disclosure, I do
ice.
plan on being cryogenically frozen and thawed out in the year 3033. If I don't like what I'm seeing, then I'll be put back in the deep freeze. Yes, that is true.
They taking the
Be that
glacier
as it
down.
may. Be that as it may.
Blood runs cold.
I do appreciate the man that Hulk Hogan made me to believe he was, and the training, the prayers, the vitamins, the believing in yourself. These were good commandments, and he was entertaining, and he did his job as a professional wrestler. The nuances, everything he did, he knew how to play to a crowd. He knew how to do his job, and he did it well. It's a dirty business, and sometimes you had to step on some necks and climb on the rungs on the ladder to success. That's just kind of how it works sometimes. For better, for worse, it was what it was. But at the end of the day, professional wrestling wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for the contributions of Hulk Hogan. Like you said earlier, this is undeniable fact, and I thank him for it. In closing, Stephen?
Yeah, I'd like to share a quick story as my closing statement, my memory, because I could have spent this whole time just reliving Hogan's different feuds and the memories from being a fan and stuff. Which actually, this maybe isn't actually my favorite Hogan feud or match. It is for a lot of people, but it wasn't for me. But there's a moment that came from it that I thought was prescient for tonight's discussion, which is WrestleMania 6. Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior, the Ultimate Challenge, title for title. Hogan puts over Ultimate Warrior in that match. Ultimate Warrior becomes the new champion, and again, in true Hogan fashion, Hogan finds a way to center himself for someone else's moment. He goes outside the ring. He grabs Winged Eagle. He comes back in the ring. And Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, or who are on commentary, who both say, like, I don't know what Hogan's doing. What's he doing? And he comes in and he gives the belt to Ultimate Warrior and gives him a hug and a handshake. And when I say the only time, I do mean the only time in my fandom that I can remember Jesse Ventura in April of 1990 saying something positive about Hulk Hogan. And it's on commentary. I think you'd have to find the original VHS to hear it, because I think it's been scrubbed from YouTube because WWE scrubbed Jesse's voice from so many things, because of the royalties lawsuit. But when he's hugging him and Hulkamania has been defeated clean in this match, when they're embracing and the crowd is unified and cheering, Jesse Ventura says, and mark my words, you know what, Gorilla? I think Hulkamania will live forever.
Wow. That's
right.
huge.
Shook me, and I was like,
the boys in the back.
Right. So all that, and like, because we know, go back and listen to the A&B Combos podcast on our episodes on the McMahon documentary, and we talk about the beef, the long held beef, the dry aged beef that Jesse Ventura had with Hulk Hogan. And for him to say that, and I'm sure to some degree he was probably told to put Hogan over, but to be so specific in that still holds in my memory. So with that, without eating up everyone else's time anymore, I'm just going to say Terry Bollea is dead, but Hulkamania will live forever.
And if I'm not mistaken, was that not the first time they used the phrase "Immortal Hulk Hogan"?
I believe, I think that's when he became immortal.
Right?
Because they're talking about,
remember,
because he was
I
he
kinda
was
remember
Hulk
that.
Rules.
Mhm.
This tank top from WrestleMania 5 to 6, I
Mhm.
believe, and then after 6, I do believe, is when he adopted the Immortal
The Immortal
moniker,
Hulk Hogan.
because he
Yeah.
wasn't champion anymore, so he needed something else.
Absolutely. B, I want you to get your final thoughts in, but M Pound Cake, a member for 12 months, a solid year,
Nice.
says hate that
Hey.
Brutus and Hulk Hogan didn't mend their friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one thing you got to say real quick. No matter how you feel about somebody, it's one of those situations where there is no tomorrow, as in it's not promised to anybody. And if there is any shred in your heart where you're like, you know what, I should reach out to this person and try to give an olive branch and let's mend some fences here. Yeah, because as you can see, you always think that there's a tomorrow. In fact, I think Roddy Piper? Roddy Piper. No, it was Hulk Hogan. It was Hulk Hogan who said Roddy Piper left him a voicemail and he didn't pick up. This is right before he passed.
Mm.
And he said he kept that voicemail on his phone and it haunts him to this day. Like, this was whenever he gave that interview, because he says, I should have picked up the phone and I didn't. And he'll always have that voice on his voicemail, he said, but it's one of those things where it's like, dang it, I should have, I would have, I could have. What's your
Yeah, I had
your
one of those
closing?
moments too.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, I saw her at church and there's something in me was like, go hug her. And I was running late and I needed to get back to the car. He was waiting. I was like, I'll hug her next time I see her on Sunday. But she died the next morning. And yeah, you live with that. Like, I felt like God was telling me to go give her a hug, like give her that last hug. Something, because it was something in me that was like, no, you need to go do that. And I didn't listen to that voice. And yeah, I do regret not getting that last hug. She was only 30 years old. But yeah, so I feel you on that. I'm just gonna say, because I really said what I had to say, I'm actually gonna disagree with you, Stephen. Terry Bollea did not die. He gave his life to Christ, and so he also will live forever. Bam.
I see what you
And
did there.
Eternal
yes,
eternal
I see what you did
checkmate.
there.
Yeah, there you go.
that's
Eternal checkmate. We got another gigantic super chat, not even by Hollywood Three Dickless. This is just regular Three Dickless, folks. Without Hulk Hogan, there's no DX, there's no NXT, there's no Netflix deal. And I want to share two of my favorite moments. One, the Hogan entrance, Raw after WrestleMania 18. And two, hits leg drop on The Rock at WrestleMania 18. And Jim Ross screams, he beat Andre the Giant with that move. Love you, Hogan. Yellow heart emoji for the Hulkster. Love you, Three Diglets. That, my friend, is saying a lot. Thank you very, very much. Sean Swaby, what is going on, my friend? Emily Lyons Bristow. For those that don't know, she is all the way across the pond coming in from the UK. Good morning.
Hey, Emily.
5 a.m. over there.
Wow.
Oof.
My gosh. My gosh. She is a G.
Yeah.
She'll be coming in at
all hours
ungodly
of the
hours
night for her.
just to show us some love.
Oh, we're so appreciative.
And we
Emily.
love you back, Emily. Good morning. Get yourself some I don't know. What do the Brits eat in the morning? Is it some is it baked beans on toast?
Beans on toast, man.
Beans on toast. I think that's a meal. That's a breakfast meal. Am I right on that, Emily?
I think so, right? That's an English breakfast.
I think that's an English breakfast. It's a very quick and simple meal. We have another super chat coming in hot by Three Diglets. Thank you so much, Three Diglets. And one more thing. WWE. Do your thing in that tribute video tomorrow, which you know is going to be huge. In fact, everybody's going to come out on stage They're going to do the 10 bell salute. We already know this. I believe in you. Actually, I don't really believe in you that much, but give it your best shot, kid. Triple H, don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. I don't know if anybody's going to cry. I'll be curious to see how this is going to go. Go ahead, Steven.
I'm just saying, I'm skeptical if they do the 10 bell salute. I absolutely 100% think they'll do the video package. But because I think they can have plausible, because at one, I'm wonder if they're scared of the optics of what their roster will do during a 10 bell salute, since he's such a polarizing figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they have the plausible deniability. I think all the times they did a 10 bell salute, I can be correct if I'm wrong, are when active employees passed. So like when Dusty,
he was still a legend on Legend's contract though.
I mean, his beer is on the mat, but like, I mean,
didn't they do it for the pedophile? I mean, sorry, what's his name? The
you got to say
we ain't gonna be throwing out names now that you said that.
Sorry, PDF file. What
PDF
was his name?
Yikes!
So you know who worked behind scene and took advantage of all the guys and the ring boys.
Oh, you talking about Pat Patterson?
Yeah, didn't he get a 10
belt? Belt? I don't think so.
If you give it to him, you better give it to Hogan
for sure. The only one that made me question was when they did do it for Dusty, but I think he was still working with NXT when that happened. But I don't know, because all the ones I can remember are like Eddie Guerrero and Owen Hart and like the guys who were there, you know. But
yeah, but you know what? I get it, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think under the circumstances, you can't get much bigger than Hulk Hogan. I think it would be kind of disrespectful not to do a 10 bell salute. But who knows? Like you said, this could go a million and one different ways.
Yeah. Okay. No, you're right. You're right, Becky. Pat Patterson did get one, but it was during COVID. It was during the Thunderdome era. It was in December of 2020. So nobody was in the arena. Here's another question though.
Gotcha.
I am not arguing that Hogan doesn't deserve a 10 bell salute. Do you think they trust the crowd to behave appropriately given the last way they treated him?
Yeah, where's SmackDown?
Where are they going to be?
Douglas Patterson. I mean, if they're in Tampa, it'll be all right. Let's see.
They'll be all right in Kentucky too. Are they in the South?
While you're looking that up, Emily says, yes, beans on toast is amazing. It's an amazing breakfast, but she's going to have some cereal. I knew it. Beans on toast is amazing. Okay. That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Blacklight has a super chat right here. Blacklight says, thank y'all for this. Even though I am black, I know how to separate the man from the character that we all loved. They better do the 10 bell salute. I agree, man. I absolutely 100% agree that I think the 10 bell salute is warranted. And thank you, Blacklight.
Cleveland.
Yeah, where are they tomorrow? Cleveland.
That's a wild card, bro. That's a wild card.
That is a wild card.
That's a battle. It's a battleground state.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
10 bell salutes gotta be for active wrestlers. Yeah, I get it. It's not like, again, this is not like Terry Funk. This is not like one of the Wild Samoans. Like it's Hulk Hogan. You got to understand, like this man led the WWF. He led professional wrestling and an entire era.
Yeah,
like you said, twice over.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like just some fringe wrestler here.
No. I don't think anybody is arguing that he's not deserving of it, or at least not in this chat. I just, man, I don't want to crash out if Cleveland doesn't know how to act. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
Like if they the 10 bell salute, could you imagine if they wanted they wanted the 10 bell salute? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, and maybe they won't. Like maybe they know how to act, but sometimes, especially since this TKO merger and stuff, some of these crowds don't know how to act.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to look at it like this. Roman Reigns was getting booed out of the building. He shows up. My name is Joe. And he says what he says. And then, like, instantly, camera goes to the crowd. There's tears flowing,
Right.
talking about what's going on with him. I mean, that was a game changer. And that got real. And I just feel like this is a very real moment for somebody that was so polarizing. I'm not going to say controversial. I'm not going to say pop, just very polarizing. Hulk Hogan was a very polarizing individual. His reach into professional wrestling, say what you will about him, he loved this business. As Booker T was said, bless you. He loved this business, man. And he had his fingers in it. He was trying to do something with Eric Bischoff just now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, this will be very interesting tomorrow. This will be very interesting. 3 Diggler says, if the majority are wearing Rollins, Lynch, or Ripley shirts, don't do the salute. Oh man. Oh, that's why
I'm just trying to imagine them trotting the whole roster out and just keeping the camera on CM Punk for all 10 bells. Just keeping the camera on his face, being like, I dare you. I dare you to smirk, bro. Like a lot of these guys have their feelings, but like, and I say that jokingly. I don't actually think I don't think anybody on the roster would misbehave in that moment. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't.
But
think so.
it's just it is the keyboard warriorization of wrestling fans that is making its way into certain arenas. Not all of them. And it's like 1 week it feels like the 80s again. And then another week it's like, where did all you people come from? Like, so anyway, what do you mean you people? Sorry. So
no, look at the beady whites of his eyes, man.
Just to get up that hill. So yeah, man, I want to believe it'll be done respectfully for sure.
I hope so.
Because
they're putting it together.
He's earned one segment where he's not coming out and selling a product. Like we're just remembering the things that made wrestling better, you know? And we can all do that for 30 seconds.
So can we now, it might be a little too soon. Can we not do the Real American Beer advertisement anymore? Can we just take
I gotta wonder, even from a business standpoint, like how long was the contract, and was it tied to Hogan? Was it tied to a corporation? Because like if it was tied to him, I mean, maybe they have an out. I don't know. Or maybe they're keeping it on there to pay his family. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a fine question. Blacklight, you know, you say what you say about the N-word, and like Lincoln Osiris said, for 400 years, that word has kept us down.
Tell people you're quoting Tropic Thunder so I don't get in trouble as a white man here.
I'm quoting Tropic Thunder. Which I freaking love that film. And I love that character. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the N-word thing. I will simply say this much: as a black man, we should never say that word. That word should be retired. And that is something I'm not going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into the why right now. That's a whole other conversation for another day. I'm simply going to say I personally do not believe in that word. We should not be utilizing that word to refer to one another. It's not a term of endearment. It's just not. We didn't create the word, and it's not something that should be used by anybody, you know, quite frankly. I know some comedians like to use it, and whatever the case may be, and I'm glad that you don't use it. I don't use it either. I don't believe in it. And that should be flat out retired. And we're going to leave it at that. I would like to thank everybody for coming in here for
what did Blacklight say that made you say that?
He said, okay. So I was just wrapping up there.
Sorry. Because he seemed confused.
He said He said the N-word, and we found out. How many people have not been heard saying it? Y'all never heard me say it, and I've been here a month. LOL.
Oh.
And I'm saying, yeah, he said the N-word. But again, in regards to what Hulk Hogan said,
Yeah.
it's not, there have been plenty of people who have said the N-word, and you've got to look at the context of the conversation. In that conversation that Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea rather, said the N-word, there was more that was said in that whole conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Booker T said it to Hulk Hogan on camera one time. So it's all about
you, Nick.
it's all about context for sure.
You know, yeah, it's about context. And so the context, and I've mentioned this before, in that conversation basically said, this is a man that has utilized this before. This is his mentality of what he thinks about Black people. And he doesn't, quite frankly, think highly of us. Clearly, he doesn't want us dating his daughter. And if we are going to mess with one, at least mess with a rich one. Like, if we have to, at least let's get something out of it. That was the context of the conversation. So it wasn't just, and I hate the fact that people just homogenize it down to just, he said the N-word. No, he said the N-word in this context. And when you read that context, then you go, well, damn, you suck. At the time, that was your thought. You're like, oh, you suck. Dang, Terry Bollea, you suck. And thus WWE felt the same way, and they pulled the plug on him. They literally pulled the plug on him. Never seen anything like it. For all the accolades that we've said Hulk Hogan has done and been attributed to, the WWE said they did the NWO on that fool. And they wiped him out with a spray can and said, yeah, no, you're out. That's wild if you really think about that. But they brought him back in. So, what are you going to do? All right, that's it for us. I want to thank Stephen Sandridge, Marked by Wrestling. Please tell the fans here where they can find you.
Yeah, please like and subscribe. We can use you over here at Marked by Wrestling. We're going live more frequently, but we are your coalition home for NXT every Tuesday night. It's never been a more exciting time to be a viewer of NXT. You get half credit for watching Impact when you're watching NXT these days. So there's a lot of fun things going on. And then also you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at screen.stream.shelf, where I give movie reviews all the time. Added Fantastic Four today. And you can also come back and visit Marked by Wrestling on Saturday night, as A is going to join me, speaking of movies, and we're going to be talking the films of the DC universe.
And I'm going to say this much. We watched it for a second time this week, and it was groovy, baby, groovy. But with that said, I do have some thoughts.
It'll be a productive conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah. Y'all definitely are not going to want to miss this one. I go in a little bit. I got a lot of problem with you people, and
you're gonna hear about it.
I'm really gonna get into it. So yeah, join us on Marked by Wrestling's channel this Saturday. We're gonna talk some DCU. B is gonna be in the chat because she feels opposite of how I feel, and I'm not gonna tell you how I feel.
Wait, what time is it?
I'm not gonna tell you how you feel.
It'll be about 7:30, I believe.
7:30.
7 or 7:30.
7:30 at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, Happy Gilmore is on tomorrow night. That's actually going to be interesting. Firefighter Jimmy, thank you for your service and thank you for coming in here. We're just dipping out.
Hey, firefighter. Yeah, we're leaving right now.
Thank you to our mod squad for keeping an eye on everything. To our members, as you know, we just dropped our video podcast also with Marked by Wrestling, and we talked Goldberg. We talked women's evolution and everything in between. So if you haven't checked it out, please, by all means, do that. Hit that like button. If you haven't yet.
Geekbox, we're literally on the way out.
Oh my gosh.
Hi,
friend.
Geekbox.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, hang on, folks. If you don't know, now you know. The Geekbox, because honorable mention. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Crazy news, huh? Geekbox, yeah.
Geekbox, I've been trying to get louder on NXT so I can make your channel.
Yes. Thank you.
Love you, dude. You do great work. You do great work.
Yes, you do. Geekbox. If you don't know, go check out Geekbox's channel.
For sure.
Wow. Thank you so much for being with us. Emily, Are you going to work? I know it's early, so I'm assuming you're getting up and
Over
going
there
to work.
across the pond.
But thank you so much. 3 Diglets, you already know.
Yes.
Okay. To everybody that reached deep down into the pocket and show that love because you love through donations. Thank you. Of which the biggest tonight has been Hollywood 3 Diglets and 3 Diglets, respectively. Thank you.
Who may or may not be the same person. We can't prove it. One has locks and the other one has a bandana. So it could be a different person. Just like Chad Gable has been accused of being Americano.
Even Ludwig Kaiser.
Well, Hollywood Diglets comes out to Voodoo Child and 3 Diglets comes out to Real American, right?
He said to show the world his belt.
Show the world your belt. Okay. But and yeah, you know what? In honor of, that's a good way to end
Jake.
New world order.
Yes, that is 3 Diglets champion belt right there.
It's a good looking belt.
It's a good looking belt. And this is also to say, nobody's been able to really dethrone him. He's like 3 Diglets like Andre the Giant. If he wants you to beat him, you can beat him.
That's it.
But the heavyweight championship is defended when we do our PLEs.
Ow.
And it is specially designed by none other than 3 Diglets, and it comes with customized side plates. That's actually a really big deal. You're talking about putting somebody over. This is a champ who's like, you know what? If you beat me, cool, and I will make your own side plates. And you had Lyra Valkyria who had to reach deep down into her gut to even raise the hand of Becky Lynch. That says a lot of who that man is. So we love you for it. Thank you very much, 3 Diglets. To every single person who dipped in here and you were new, we hope you enjoyed yourself. It's a bop over here. We try to have a good time. It is family. We can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. Like Steven said, we are the coalition members marked by wrestling.
Coalition.
A&B Combos.
Wrestling edition. Hold on. Geekbox, where are you? You said it's 5:30 over there. Are you also across the pond?
Yeah, he's in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Emily Lyons Bristow.
Yes, you're also in the UK.
Geekbox, meet Emily Lyons
yes,
Bristow.
You guys are both in the UK.
She's having cereal. Awesome. Geekbox might be having beans and toast.
Beans and toast.
It's possible.
Yep.
It's possible. Rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. Absolutely.
Well, we'll look you up when we come over there because we plan on visiting over there and going to a show out there. Hopefully, maybe next year, if not within the next couple years. During the warmer,
non-rainy months.
Yes, he does not love the rain.
So let me be clear on that. I love you all. I will not be there during the cold and during the rain. I absolutely will not do that.
All right. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan.
We sincerely hope that we are number one in your hearts. You are absolutely number one in ours. Thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your thoughts about Hulk Hogan, good, bad, and indifferent. It was a different live, so we do apologize for not being able to get to every chat that did come through the pike. But we appreciate that. And also, what part are you going to? We don't know yet, Geekbox. We are still discussing.
Yeah.
We are still discussing. Once we have that honed in, we will definitely let you all know because we are excited. We've had one trip to Europe and we're looking forward to doing that again. We will discuss and we'll let you know. We'll be back tomorrow night for Friday Night SmackDown live at 5. Make sure you keep it locked. Steven will be going live on his channel as well. And again, Saturday night on Marked by Wrestling, me, him, talking DCU, we get into it. We get
live at 5, and that ain't no jive, baby.
That is it for us. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Rest in peace to Terry Bollea, aka Hulk Hogan, aka the Hulkster. And with that, we will bid you all
adieu.
God bless you. Have a good night.
Good night.